This is Solex Church on Sundays. 5! 5! Yeah, 5! Church on Sundays, 5! 5! 5! Yeah! I said friends, and you know you're my friend, and you're my brothers and sisters, and we all one family. We need to all call him God. Yeah! Oh, call him God. Well, let's say now, where were we? Well, okay, here we were, and I wanted to talk about this on the last video. Of course, you're gonna have to go to 6 for the possessions, you know what I'm talking about. The suspense is building, but you must listen to 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and listen in succession, you see, because you might miss out on something, and we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for a reason. So this little message right here in 5 would be geared towards Church on Sundays. 5 would be geared towards kind of, sort of, well, again, the unbelievers, you know, some of them out there where, and you know, and I really challenge the unbelievers on this one, just because of the fact. Now, I think people that are unbelievers are going to give up more resistance, and they're going to give up a lot more quicker, and they're not going to be persistent until it happens, you know. But that's the thing, is you got to be persistent until it happens, and not go into with any expectations or any judgment at all. Period. Keep your trap shut and be still and know God. Okay, so that's like the beginning part of it right there. Except, you know, anyways, you know, but I talked to some other people about this too. And, you know, again, I would say it's all about the persistence. And if you want to know specifically, period, no ifs, ands, buts, or not, and you got to put in the time. And it's a condition of the heart too, because if you go into this with resistance of any kind that's within you, it's just going to take you longer, because it's like you're getting in the way. Do you understand? It's like you, if there's any kind of resistance or doubt or any other kind of recording going on over here with all your crap and all that, it's just going to take you longer, and then you're going to give up, and well, I tried it and it didn't work. You know, it could take you, I mean, just depends on the condition of who you are as a person, and your openness, and your willingness to let go. And see, here's a part of the thing too, I think that people have a problem with, because people feel guilty enough and bad enough about themselves already. I mean, there's a lot of pain out there in this world, and people, I think generally across the board, are just not really happy with themselves to begin with, and they don't accept themselves for who they are. They're not happy with who they are. They're not happy with how they look, you know, and I'd say there's a good strong majority of people out there that are just not happy with themselves, and, you know, and that's from things that have happened in their lives and the things that have been set, then that have been beset and put upon them. That can cause pain and doubt and insecurities and not feeling loved, you know. So the bottom line is that people are already feeling bad about themselves, and then you come in with religion, and you're like, and then, you know, religions, and God said, you know, and then fire and the brimstone, and then God said, and then the religion was, well, if you don't do this, well then, you know, and then religion pushes that narrative out there that, you know, that just if people are already feeling bad about themselves already, and then you want to make them feel guilty about something else, they're going to reject it, you know, because the bottom line in all humanity, people want to be accepted and loved. You know, that's because what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. And that's love and acceptance. I mean, you're born into this earth, and I think automatically as a child and as a baby, and if you're a parent, you got to understand this and know this wholeheartedly. When you have a child, I think it's the innate nature of a child to be looking for love and acceptance. Those are the first things that they're looking for, is love and acceptance. And we as people, when we grow older, we're looking for love and acceptance. And the majority, of the most part, unfortunately, in this world, we get nothing but a bunch of rejection. you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, and we'll so if people are already out there, you're feeling enough pain already, and they're already in enough pain, and then religion wants to come in and, well, if you're not doing this, and then the thing about it is that you get so many people like that come out there, like this movie star's following this religion, and this movie star's following this religion, and this movie star's following this religion, and you're all following and they're all following these religions out there, and they're all searching, and I think there's a lot of people that are out there searching, and then there's a lot of unbelievers out there that just get plain fed up and done searching, and they decide to reject it and say it's just a bunch of phooey. Yeah, it's just a bunch of phooey. Well, come on now, don't say that. Come on. Portion of this would be for, don't give up, man, because I've talked to people about this before, and we pretty much, and I can tell you from my own heartfelt experience to be able to tell you this, that, because, we're looking for unconditional love and acceptance. And I'm just like a lot of people out there where I got rejected and pushed and shoved down and stuffed in a hole. Okay. But the thing about it is that I always turned to God, because I was taught a long time ago that God loved me and he accepted me for who I was, and that he was there, and that he loved me, and that he accepted me, and that because the saying, if you only knew how much God loved you, it just melt your heart, so that's what I always knew, and that's what I always hung on to, is because I got rejected and stuffed in a hole too. And I must say, people, there's so much pain in the world out there because people don't feel accepted and loved and appreciated and all those kinds of things, and that leads to a lot of stuff, out there. That when you don't feel loved and appreciated and accepted, that leads to a lot of things in life for people, and one of them is just to reject God and reject the whole thing. And I can't even fathom that people out there that think that the Holy Spirit and Jesus are just, they're nothing but a bunch of stories. Okay, fine, if that's how you feel right now. But I can guarantee this: if you have the ability to allow yourself to be open and say, okay, Solex, okay, I heard what you're saying, okay? And I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to go do it. And because I've talked to other people too about this too, and I know it for sure, and I know it from my own experience, that you can too. You can too, because we're all God's creation, and you can too. You can, not to can, you can. Yeah. There's two things that I talked about. There's one God, and we are all God's children. We are all belonging to the same family. Yep. And so there's God, and then there's the work of the cross, right? There's the work of the cross, and the work of the cross is in the Holy Bible. The Holy Bible. Yep. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote about Christ's life and the work of the cross. And so the process, you see, is that be diligent. You gotta read it with an open and loving and earnest heart, without judgment or any idiocracies of anything that could get in the way. You just need to read it and be open. And maybe it's going to take you reading it, I don't know how many times. Just read them: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And just be persistent reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Some of you people out there might read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John for a year or two before God let you know in a personal way. Personal way, like he did with me, but maybe not like with me, because we're all different and we're all unique. And you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you just keep reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and don't get rid of you're doing this, I need you to do this. You understand? You're doing this, I need you to do this. Okay? Be still and know God. That means kind of put the rhetoric in your gobbledygook that you're putting out there, and just be still and know God. And you kind of can't take that literal when you're reading, right? Read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And I got to tell you, after a period of time of reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and remember what I also said? I told you, I said this to you. I did. And that's to spend time with God. It's about relationship. There's one God. We're all God's children. The work of the cross. And it's about relationship. And that's it. Can you imagine how simple? That you don't need religion. You don't need the clanging of the bells. You don't need to wear perfect clothes. You don't need to, or whatever it is, or bowing and doing all this stuff. It's about relationship. It's about spending time with God. So you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Like I said, I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're Hindu. I don't care who you are. Right? I mean, if you want to know God on a deeper level, that's kind of the ticket, just a little bit, and there's no religion to that. There's no, and you can say, it was written by so-and-so, and like I said, and I'll say it, and I'll say it again. Are you listening this time? That Jesus' life has been documented more than any. Go ahead and study. Look that one up. How much documentation of Jesus' life is out there, So you go find that. You can't push that one aside or think that doesn't exist either. And reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and spending time with God and praying. And then I'll tell you something. Are you ready? This is 5. Next one, 6. Church on Sunday, 6. Yeah.